Have you ever had one of those moments when you were simply walking through your day, when something so precise and perfectly timed landed in your path that it completely stopped you in your tracks? Maybe it was a random word, overheard from a stranger, that felt as if it was meant just for you. Or perhaps it was a song playing at the exact moment when your thoughts were spiraling, pulling you into a moment of clarity. Or maybe it was a sequence of numbers glowing from a clock, those numbers that somehow felt like they had been waiting for you to catch your attention at just the right moment. At first, the mind wants to brush these moments off as mere coincidence, just random occurrences that we assign meaning to in a fleeting moment of self-reflection. But there is something deeper happening. Your intuition whispers, "This is not meaningless." And with every passing moment, that whisper grows louder, guiding you toward the realization that these seemingly random events may actually be far more significant than you originally thought. This brings up a profound question. Are you finding the pattern, or is the pattern finding you? It's a paradox that unsettles the logical mind. If the universe is truly random, then why do synchronicities seem to accelerate when you are on the verge of a personal breakthrough? Why do the signs multiply precisely when you are about to shift direction, change a belief, or step into a new version of yourself? This paradox raises an intriguing possibility. Perhaps these synchronicities are not random accidents at all, but rather signs of alignment. If you reduce life to a series of accidents, you're left with nothing but absurdity. But what if, instead, reality is alive, conscious, and communicative? What if synchronicities are not trivial quirks, but rather signals of alignment, divine breadcrumbs guiding you back to your true path? This thought is the first fracture in the old belief system, the first invitation to peer behind the veil. But there's a hidden danger in brushing off these moments. Dismissing signs as mere coincidence may provide comfort in the short term, but it locks you out of a deeper, ongoing dialogue with reality itself. Your subconscious mind is always scanning the environment, processing millions of data points beyond your conscious awareness. It is constantly filtering, highlighting, and selecting information that resonates with your inner state. Why do certain events rise to the surface with such intensity, as if underlined in neon? Because they resonate with your current vibrational frequency. The field of perception doesn't simply deliver random scraps of information, it mirrors the energy you emit. This insight challenges your understanding of reality, suggesting that the world around you is not passive, but responsive, alive, and intricately woven to match your internal state. Here is the incomplete puzzle. Though if synchronicities mirror our inner world, why do they often carry wisdom or guidance that transcends what we consciously know? This is where the complexity deepens. The answer is more layered than we realize, and it points to something far more expansive. To break the pattern of passivity and begin actively engaging with your world, you must confront an unsettling possibility. What if you are not walking through a dead, mechanical world, but instead through a living, vibrant matrix of meaning? Every time you dismiss these moments as mere chance, you silence a message that is meant for you. The real interruption in your life comes not when the universe presents you with a sign, but when you dare to flip the story around and ask, what if randomness itself is the true illusion? What if the order has been hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to see it? That simple thought alone has the power to disrupt your mental autopilot. It shakes up the old programming just enough for curiosity to slip through, and curiosity is the crack where transformation begins. In this light, synchronicities are not interruptions to your life, but life itself breaking through the denial of your current reality. These moments are not rare, but rather constant, always there, waiting for you to sharpen your perception. The question is not whether the signs are there, they always are. The real question is whether you are willing to see them. The moment you begin to look, everything changes. Suddenly, you begin to notice how the same book keeps showing up in conversations with different people, or how the same symbol appears in your dreams and in waking life. You start to see the same lesson being whispered to you from multiple channels, until you can no longer ignore it. Reality has a way of repeating itself sometimes in subtle ways until you finally respond. But here's the trap that most people fall into. They assume that because they cannot explain the event immediately, it must not matter. But explanation is not the same as significance. For example, science once dismissed electricity as invisible nonsense until it became undeniable. In much the same way, Synchronicities remain largely unquantified by science, but they are traced by the thread of experience. And perhaps the fact that you're reading these words at this very moment, hearing this message, might itself be a sign. It could be part of a larger web of events, an interruption in the rhythm of your daily life, a reminder that you are not drifting through a random world, but swimming in an ocean of signals and synchronicities. The more you resist these patterns, the more persistent they become. But when you open yourself to them, the more coherent and elegant the timing begins to feel. It's as if the universe is playing a private symphony for you, with you as both the instrument and the audience. Each note, each repetition, is designed to pull you deeper into resonance with the path you are meant to walk. But don't mistake this for a predestined fate written in stone. The puzzle is incomplete on purpose. You are always given just enough to continue, not the entire picture, but just enough to keep you moving forward. That missing piece, that gap, is what keeps you moving along your journey, always curious, always seeking, always expanding. And here lies the intersection of free will and destiny. The paradox sharpens. You are both the author and the reader of your life, both the sender and the receiver of the signals. In this sense, randomness dissolves into alignment once you allow yourself to entertain the idea that you are entangled with a larger intelligent field. You may not have all the answers yet. You may not fully understand what the signs are building toward, but that's precisely why you continue to watch, to listen, and to notice. The patterns are not random, and deep down you've always known they were there. Waiting, following, aligning. If the first shock comes when you realize that synchronicities seem too precise to be random, the second shock comes when you discover that science itself has been brushing against this mystery for decades. At the microscopic level, particles do not behave like solid billiard balls. Instead, they exist in clouds of probability, waves of possibility that collapse into a definite state only when observed. This is not just philosophy or metaphysics, it is quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, when you bring awareness into the equation, the invisible threads of potential reorganize themselves into form. Could it be that the same principle that governs the behavior of electrons is also weaving meaning into the fabric of your everyday life? What if the synchronicities you experience are not random, but instead represent the collapse of possibilities into aligned events? Your brain is not just a passive receiver of information, it is an active sculptor of your perception. Neuroscience tells us that out of the billions of bits of information available at any given moment, the brain filters most of them out. It keeps only what aligns with your current model of reality. This is called selective attention, and it explains why, for example, when you buy a new car, you start seeing that exact model everywhere. But here's the deeper twist. Selective attention is not only filtering for objects, it's also filtering for meaning. The signs you notice are not random because they are resonant with your inner state. Your brain is literally wiring itself to see the things that vibrate at the same frequency as you. And yet even this explanation leaves something out. If it were just a trick of attention, then synchronicities would feel hollow, like noticing clouds shaped like animals, something trivial, not significant. But when a true synchronicity occurs, something different happens. You feel it in your body, it's electric, it's charged. It carries an emotional frequency that makes your skin tingle and your heart race. This sensation is not just coincidence. It is a signal that carries a deeper meaning, one that the body knows, even when the mind doesn't. Psychology calls this numinosity, the sensation of sacred presence. The body knows when something is more than just coincidence. This charge you feel is evidence of coherence, of alignment between your inner world and the larger field of reality. You are not just noticing the signs, you are entangled with them. And this is where quantum physics provides further clues. When two particles become entangled, they remain linked across time and space. Change one, and the other responds instantaneously, faster than the speed of light. Einstein famously referred to this as spooky action at a distance because it defied his own logic. But what if synchronicities are the macroscopic echoes of this principle? What if, when you shift something within your own inner world, change a belief, expand an intention, the external world begins to reorganize itself in resonance? The sign that appears is not random. It is evidence of your entanglement with the larger field of reality itself. Still, there's a mystery lingering. How does your inner shift ripple outward into the fabric of the external world? This is where spirituality had language long before science ventured to explore it. Neville Goddard spoke of imagination as the creative force of the universe, asserting that your inner state precedes external reality. Joe Dispenza emphasizes the coherence between the brain and heart, demonstrating how elevated emotion and clear intention produce measurable effects in the quantum field. Amit Goswami, in his work on consciousness, describes how matter itself arises from consciousness, something the physical world still grapples to understand. These are not just poetic metaphors, they bridge what we can measure with what we can feel. But the puzzle is still not complete. If synchronicities are merely the brain noticing patterns, why do they often precede external shifts that you could not have predicted? Why does a number sequence appear just before a life event unfolds, almost as though reality is announcing itself in advance? Traditional science doesn't yet have the vocabulary to describe this pre-causal order, but physics is inching closer. Experiments in retrocausality suggest that choices made in the present may influence outcomes in the past, indicating that time itself is not as linear as we once thought. The timeline, it seems, may not be as straightforward as we've believed. The connection between your inner world and the outer reality you experience is much more profound, interconnected and fluid than we can yet fully comprehend. Imagine walking through your day, immersed in the usual rhythms of life, when suddenly something precise, something oddly timed, appears right in your path. Maybe it's a word from a stranger, one you needed to hear at exactly that moment. Or perhaps it's a song that plays just as you're spiraling in your thoughts, bringing an unexpected sense of calm. It could even be a number sequence flashing on a clock, one that seems as though it had been waiting for you to notice. These moments, seemingly insignificant or random, hold a deeper truth that the mind often tries to dismiss. It wants to rationalize them away, keeping you grounded in the safety of old beliefs and patterns. But beneath the surface of that impulse to ignore, your intuition whispers, "This is not meaningless." That whisper gets louder with every synchronicity, nudging you toward a realization that these moments are more than just coincidences, they are clues. They are signals from a deeper, more expansive reality, a reality that you are beginning to touch, whether you fully understand it or not. The real question then becomes, are you finding the pattern, or is the pattern finding you? This is the paradox that challenges our conventional understanding of time and reality. If time is truly linear, then why does it seem like synchronicities multiply when you are on the verge of a transformation? Why does everything start aligning so perfectly when you decide to change direction, shift a belief, or take a leap into a new version of yourself? To the logical mind, this all seems absurd. But what if there is a larger truth at play? What if synchronicities aren't just random accidents, but signals that guide you towards something greater? What if the universe is alive, conscious, and communicating with you? This is where the journey of discovery begins. The moment you start considering the possibility that reality is not random, but rather full of purpose and pattern, you begin to perceive life in an entirely new way. Synchronicities are no longer seen as trivial quirks of fate, but as signals of alignment, signposts, pointing you toward the path you are meant to walk. This new perspective creates a fracture in the old way of thinking, a crack that opens up a deeper understanding of the world. But here's the danger. By dismissing synchronicities as mere coincidence, you're not just ignoring patterns, you are denying a significant part of your reality. The invisible threads that connect you to the universe are there, whether you acknowledge them or not, and when you do, life shifts. What once felt like chaotic noise becomes a clear and purposeful signal. The randomness fades, and alignment begins to emerge. But even then, the question remains. If synchronicities are a language, how do you learn to read them? How do you become fluent in the subtle communication of the universe? And why is it that these synchronicities seem to intensify at certain thresholds of transformation? These are the questions that beckon, pulling you deeper into the mystery. Every culture has discovered that the universe speaks in signs, but very few people have learned to truly listen. Some receive signals as numbers repeating themselves like echoes across their day. Others experience the sudden reappearance of a long-forgotten friend at the exact moment they needed to be reminded of their past. For some, it's dreams blending seamlessly with waking life, symbols migrating between worlds, as if to prove that nothing is truly separate. What unites all of these experiences is the deep sense that life itself is trying to hold a conversation with you. Yet, most people walk through life like tourists in a foreign land, surrounded by a language they have never learned to speak. For example, consider the experience of seeing the number 1111 on a clock. Not just once, but repeatedly, always at the exact moment when you're contemplating something you haven't voiced aloud yet. The rational mind may dismiss it as coincidence or probability, but deep down, your body doesn't react to probability, it reacts to resonance. You feel the pull because your inner state is syncing up with an external symbol. The numbers, then, are not just random digits. They are shorthand for alignment, a punctuation mark reminding you that your thoughts and the field are dancing in rhythm. This is not coincidence, it is communication. And, like all languages, the more you engage with it, the richer it becomes. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist who introduced the concept of synchronicity, understood this deeply. He said that symbols are the psyche's way of bridging the conscious and unconscious mind. A symbol doesn't provide a direct explanation, it suggests. It carries layers of meaning without forcing a single answer. This is why synchronicities often appear in symbolic form. They're not meant to give you a clear, direct path. They are meant to pull you deeper into the spiral of awareness. The number, the symbol, the unexpected encounter, they're all your psyche's way of telling you that you are in a dialogue with the larger field of reality. The outer world is responding to an inner question you may not have fully articulated yet. But then comes the great curiosity gap. If synchronicities are a language, who exactly is speaking to you? Is it your higher self, guiding you from the depths of your own consciousness? Is it the collective unconscious, a vast web of archetypal meanings shared by humanity? Or is it the universe itself, alive, conscious, deliberate threading messages through your daily life? The truth is, it may be all of these and more, layered together in a way that's impossible to separate. And that uncertainty is not a flaw. It's what keeps the language of synchronicity alive. A message too clear becomes static, repetitive, lifeless. But a message with mystery, one that leaves you wondering, keeps you engaged. This is how the brain works. It craves completion, and synchronicities exploit that craving, offering you just enough to pull you forward, but never enough to let you stop searching. Think about it. When you begin to notice these patterns, you don't feel like you've completed something. Instead, you feel an insatiable hunger for more. You want to decode, to map out the hidden grammar behind these signs. That hunger, that curiosity, is itself part of the communication. The universe doesn't hand you a finished script. It offers you fragments, scattered clues, pieces of an incomplete puzzle. Your job is to notice them. That's the first stage. The second stage is to decode them. And the final stage? To embody what they point to. That's where the true initiation happens. The language of synchronicities is not intellectual, it's transformative. It's designed not to inform you, but to change you. Here's a story that illustrates this beautifully. A woman begins seeing butterflies everywhere. At first, it seems like nothing special, just nature doing its thing. But then, the butterflies appear in books, in songs, in artwork gifted by friends. The symbol multiplies, becoming impossible to ignore. Eventually, she realizes that it all started when she was contemplating a major transformation in her life, leaving a job that was draining her spirit. The butterflies were not predicting her choice. They were affirming it, surrounding her with the energy of metamorphosis before she even made the decision. This is the power of symbolic language. It doesn't force itself upon you. It doesn't dictate what you should do. It invites you to step into a deeper alignment. The moment she aligned with the symbolism of the butterflies, her transformation became inevitable. But here's the thing, this language doesn't follow the rules of linear logic. It's poetic, metaphorical, layered. If you expect the signs to give you straightforward answers, you'll be disappointed. The signs are not so much about asking what should I do, as they are about asking who am I becoming. The signs don't dictate specific actions. They reveal alignment with a higher version of yourself. This is why two people can experience the same event, and one can dismiss it while the other feels completely transformed. The difference isn't in the event itself, it's in the resonance. Language is alive only to those who can hear it, and your brain, it's designed for this very purpose. Neuroscience reveals that pattern recognition is one of the brain's primal functions. Our ancestors survived by detecting patterns in the dark, movements in the forest, and shapes in the stars. But in the modern world, this innate ability is hijacked by advertisements, logos, and notifications. Synchronicities break through this noise. They interrupt the regular patterns with something deeper, something that resonates with the original purpose of the brain, to notice the signals of alignment with life itself. This is not superstition. It's evolution, repurposed for awakening. But what if synchronicities have rules? A language must have structure, grammar, symbols, and meanings. What are these rules? That's where the curiosity loop tightens again. Because the rules are not external. They are deeply personal, shaped by your history, your archetypes, and your emotional states. The grammar of synchronicity is customized to each person. No book can give you the dictionary of your signs, only you can. Learning the language then is less about memorizing a set of instructions and more about developing intimacy with yourself, your inner state, and the rhythm of your own timeline. And yet, when enough people begin to share the same symbols, numbers, animals, recurring dreams, a collective vocabulary begins to emerge. These symbols form the alphabet of the universe, a field of potential meanings. But how they combine, how they punctuate your personal journey, that's unique to you. This is why synchronicities are not evidence of a predetermined destiny that was written for you. They are evidence that you are co-authoring your life, moment by moment, in real time. They are a language that reminds you. You are not wandering through randomness. You are engaged in a conversation with reality itself. The question isn't whether synchronicities are real, you already feel that they are. The question is, why do they intensify when you begin shifting timelines? Why do the signs cluster, almost like markers on the edge of transformation? That secret begins to unfold as you deepen your understanding of this journey. When you grasp it, the entire map of your life may begin to look very different. You've probably noticed something strange by now. The moments when your life feels most unstable, most uncertain, are often the exact moments when synchronicities flood in, pointing the way forward. When you change a job, end a relationship, move to a new place, or shift an internal belief, something curious happens. The signs begin to multiply. Numbers repeat, conversations align with thoughts you haven't even voiced yet, and dreams mirror your waking concerns with uncanny precision. It's as if the universe raises its volume, filling your life with undeniable echoes that cannot be ignored. But why does this happen? The answer lies in the way your vibration interacts with the greater field of possibilities. When you shift timelines, when you detach from one version of reality and begin to link with another, the field around you reacts with coherence. The patterns that once matched the version of yourself you were living with begin to fade, and new ones start to announce themselves, much like lights flickering on a path you've just begun to walk. Reality itself can be thought of as a spectrum of frequencies, each timeline vibrating with its own unique rhythm. You are not fixed to just one path or version of reality. You are fluid, constantly moving with your state of being. When you inhabit a particular identity or set of beliefs, you resonate with one version of the world. But the moment you expand or contract your vibration, the resonance shifts. And suddenly, the outer world must reconfigure to match the internal change. This is when synchronicities appear. They are the markers of that reconfiguration. Synchronicities are not random or accidental decorations. They are markers of alignment, showing you that the field is aligning with the new trajectory you've started to walk. They multiply because you are crossing thresholds, stepping into a resonance that has not yet stabilized. As this process unfolds, the universe floods you with confirmation to guide you deeper into alignment with the new path. In the realm of science, there's a metaphor that can help explain this. Quantum physics tells us that when a system shifts from one state to another, it doesn't do so quietly or smoothly. There is a release of energy, oscillations, a kind of turbulence before the system settles into coherence. Imagine water heating toward boiling point. At first, the molecules move chaotically, bumping into each other and producing unpredictable bubbles. But then, once the boiling point is reached, the process becomes continuous, ordered, inevitable. Your consciousness operates in much the same way. As you shift into a new reality, the signs appear with a certain chaotic energy, suggesting that you are on the verge of transformation. The flood of synchronicities you experience is not random. It is the turbulence of timelines colliding and then settling into a new order. Spiritually, this idea has been recognized for centuries. Shamans, mystics, and visionaries have all described these moments of transformation as being marked by omens. The ancient world never assumed that signs were meaningless. They believed that when life becomes intense and when old structures dissolve, the universe speaks louder. What modern science often calls coincidence, ancient wisdom recognized as alignment. The ancients understood that when you walk between worlds, when you're on the cusp of something new, you need guides. Synchronicities are those guides. They are the compass that does not point north, but inward, directing you toward the timeline you are now resonating with. Now comes a crucial question. If synchronicities multiply as you shift, how do you know which ones to trust? How do you distinguish between mere noise and genuine signals, between fear-projecting patterns and the field delivering guidance? This is where embodiment becomes essential. The signs that are aligned with your shift carry a distinct resonance. They are not hollow or meaningless. They are charged, almost magnetic. They arrive with a precision that feels surgical, designed to pierce through doubt. When synchronicities strike, you don't just see them, you feel them. And that feeling is your internal confirmation of alignment. Your body becomes the tuning fork that resonates with the field. This is how you know the difference. The signs you can trust are those that stir your body, those that evoke a visceral reaction. They are not random, they are part of the larger symphony of your transformation. And this brings us to a deeper revelation. Synchronicities are not meant to impress you, they are meant to transform you. They are not fireworks that dazzle for a moment and then fade. They are milestones on the journey. Each sign is a mirror, asking, are you willing to keep walking this new path? Are you willing to embody the version of yourself that this new timeline requires? If you ignore them, the path becomes slower, cloudier, filled with static. But if you follow them, the path becomes clearer, more luminous, and undeniable. The signs multiply at thresholds because the stakes are higher. Your choices echo more loudly. Your vibration recalibrates faster. These signs are not just decorations. They are the very navigation system of consciousness itself. Think of it like this. You're standing at a crossroads. The old path is familiar, predictable, lined with patterns you've already walked before. The new path is mysterious, unstable but alive with possibility. Which way do you go? The synchronicities appear like torches along the uncertain road, softly whispering, this way, keep going. You are not lost. Every time you trust them, those torches multiply, guiding you deeper into coherence with the new reality you are stepping into. But here's the paradox. The signs won't carry you. They won't make the choice for you. They are reflections of your alignment, not substitutes for action. You still have to step forward. You still have to act. The signs are proof that you are aligned with the path, not that you are being carried along it effortlessly. They amplify the evidence that you are not leaping into nothing, but into a timeline that is already waiting for you. That's why synchronicities are so intoxicating. They remind you that your inner world and the universe are not separate but reflect one another. Now, pause for a moment and think about what signs have been multiplying around you lately. What numbers, what phrases, what repeating symbols have been chasing you through your days. These aren't just random decorations, they are confirmations. They are telling you that you are already in motion, already shifting, already aligning with a new reality. You may not see the full picture yet, but the signals are everywhere. The more you honor them, the louder they become. The more you dismiss them, the quieter your intuition grows. This is where your power lies. You are not meant to collect signs like trophies, as if they are rewards for your awareness. You are meant to embody them, to live as though the alignment they represent is already true, to walk in resonance with the timeline you are claiming. That's why I want you to anchor this truth right now. I want you to declare it, not just as a casual action, but as a proclamation of alignment. I walk in alignment with my timeline. Write it down, feel it, and let the act of declaring it become your signal back to the universe. Because when you declare alignment, the universe responds in kind. The multiplication of signs is not random. It is necessary. It is the turbulence of timelines, the chorus of the field, the guiding system of an intelligent universe. The question now is, what will you do with these fragments, these glowing markers of destiny? How do you hold them when they never give you the complete picture? Only pieces of a puzzle that remain unfinished. That's the mystery we are about to explore further. Every synchronicity feels like a piece of a larger puzzle, but never the entire thing. This is not an accident. The signs arrive incomplete because their power lies not in finality, but in movement. They are meant to keep you searching, adjusting, and aligning. Imagine if every signal you received handed you the entire roadmap of your life. The mystery would vanish, the tension would dissolve, and with it, your evolution would stagnate. The universe does not operate like a manual. It operates like a mosaic, giving you fragments just enough to spark your curiosity, just enough to pull you forward, but never enough to let you stop. This is the design. Think of how a puzzle works. At first, the pieces are scattered, chaotic, confusing. You don't know where each piece belongs, but over time the patterns begin to emerge. Corners lock into place. The edges begin to frame the whole. You still don't see the complete picture, but your intuition sharpens with every connection. Synchronicities function in exactly the same way. Each event is a fragment of a larger pattern. At first it feels disjointed, incomplete, but as you collect more, a hidden order starts to emerge. The incomplete nature of these signs is not a flaw. It's the very mechanism that keeps you evolving into the version of yourself capable of seeing the bigger picture. But here's the paradox. While the puzzle is never fully finished, each fragment feels perfect in itself. A repeating number may not carry the entire map of your destiny, but in that moment it feels complete, whole, undeniable. That sense of wholeness, that feeling of everything falling into place, convinces you to trust the process. And just when you think you've decoded the message, another piece arrives, contradicting or expanding on what you thought you knew. This cycle is endless, but it is not cruel. It is the rhythm of growth, the design of transformation. You are meant to live inside the unfolding, not skip to the final page. Science has its version of this mystery too. In chaos theory, complex systems that appear random are actually governed by hidden patterns. You can't predict the exact outcome, but you can see the shape of order within the apparent chaos. The weather, ecosystems, even the human brain operate under this principle. Synchronicities may be the personal experience of this same dynamic. Life, from the outside, may seem chaotic, but underneath, there's an underlying fractal order that reveals itself piece by piece. Each synchronicity is like a snapshot of the larger fractal, but never the full image. That's why they're so addictive. The brain craves completion, but the universe withholds just enough to keep you leaning forward, always seeking the next piece of the puzzle. Across every spiritual tradition, there is a common thread. The idea that you are given daily bread, not the bread for the year or the decade, but just enough for today. This concept resonates deeply when we consider the role of synchronicities in our life. Like the daily bread for the soul, synchronicities offer us just enough guidance for the step we're on, but never the full staircase. They provide us with clues and confirmations, but never the whole picture. This intentional withholding of information isn't a random cosmic oversight. It's a protective mechanism, shielding us from the overwhelming weight of knowledge we are not yet ready to carry. More importantly, it safeguards the integrity of free will. If we could see the entire puzzle in advance, we would lose the essence of choice. Our decisions would no longer be spontaneous or authentic but mechanical, driven by an already foreseen outcome. The beauty of the incomplete puzzle is that it allows for free will to be exercised within the framework of a larger, interconnected pattern. This leads to the understanding that synchronicities aren't designed to prove destiny to us, they are designed to shape us into the people who can live that destiny. They don't give us answers to what will happen, but rather they ask who we are becoming in response to what is unfolding before us. That is the true alchemy of synchronicity. The signs and fragments that come to us are not meant to give us certainty. Rather, they serve as catalysts for transformation. The uncertainty itself is the tool. The gaps in understanding are part of the initiation. This is where the deeper magic lies. Consider a man who begins seeing feathers everywhere. At first, he dismisses it as mere coincidence, but the feathers continue to appear on the street, in books, even in dreams. He begins to interpret them as a message of lightness and surrender. Slowly, he starts to let go of his rigid control, and months later, he realizes that the feathers were never meant to predict an external event. They were, in fact, guiding him toward an internal shift. The feathers were puzzle pieces meant to change who he was, not to tell him what would happen. This is the secret most people miss. The signs are not predictors, they are sculptors. They shape your consciousness far more than they inform your intellect. And yet, the incompleteness of these signs can stir an ache within you. You want the whole picture, the full understanding. You want to see the end, to have it all figured out. But this ache, this longing for completion, might just be the point. It may be the fuel that keeps you aligned, keeps you moving, keeps you co-creating. Without this ache, there would be no momentum. You would fall back into autopilot. The ache is what keeps you awake. It's what compels you to keep noticing, to keep searching, to keep listening. The fragments are designed to create a constant process of alignment, not to deliver a finished picture. The puzzle may remain incomplete, but the fragments are enough. They are what make the journey meaningful. So, how do you live inside a puzzle that will never be finished? The answer is deceptively simple, though not necessarily easy. You stop demanding completion. You begin to celebrate the fragments. You recognize that each synchronicity is enough for this moment, and you allow it to change you without needing to see the entire picture. In doing so, you align with the deeper intelligence that is guiding the process. The puzzle remains incomplete, but your alignment is whole. The fragments are scattered, but your resonance remains intact. This is the posture of one who walks in coherence with the universe. As you learn to live in this way, something remarkable begins to happen. You realize that the puzzle was never external at all. It was always a reflection of your internal evolution. The incomplete picture outside of you was merely mirroring the incomplete picture within you. As you grow, as you align, as you embody, the fragments shift, new ones appear, and the mosaic of your life becomes more radiant, more undeniable. The picture remains incomplete, but it becomes breathtaking in its beauty. So, when you look at the signs and feel the frustration of not knowing everything, remember that you're not supposed to know everything. You are only meant to know enough to take the next step, and that is always enough. The incomplete puzzle is not a barrier to your destiny. It is the essence of it. It is the way the universe teaches you to trust, to move, to become. The fragments are here. They are multiplying. The puzzle is unfolding, and the final piece, the one that ties everything together, is not given to you in a moment of clarity. It is something that you live. The real key here is that you are not just solving the puzzle, you are becoming the missing piece. Every synchronicity, every fragment of meaning that you encounter is a step closer to that transformation. The puzzle of your life is not a static thing, it is constantly shifting and evolving just as you are. The universe is not handing you the final answers, but is providing you with what you need to evolve into someone capable of seeing the big picture. By now you can feel it. Synchronicities are not accidents. They are not random sparks thrown off by a chaotic machine. They are codes, fragments of a larger language written into the very fabric of existence. The question is no longer whether the signs are real. You already feel that they are. The question now becomes, will you live as someone who notices them or as someone who dismisses them? The difference is monumental. It's the difference between drifting blind through a maze and walking consciously with a map that updates itself at every turn. To live as a decoder of reality is to embrace the truth that meaning is not waiting to be discovered out there. It is woven into the interaction between your inner frequency and the greater field itself. Every time you honor a synchronicity, you sharpen your ability to read the language of alignment. You begin to see life less as a series of accidents and more as a dialogue. The universe whispers, and you respond. You declare an intention, and the field echoes it back. Over time, this exchange deepens into trust. The incomplete puzzle stops frustrating you and starts exhilarating you. You no longer demand certainty because you realize that certainty was never the point. What matters is coherence. Alignment is the dance between signal and response, and that dance is the destination. Neuroscience supports this posture. Studies show that when the brain encounters novelty, something surprising but meaningful, it enters heightened states of neuroplasticity. In other words, synchronicities literally rewire your brain. They break the trance of routine, opening new pathways of perception. Spiritually, this is no accident. The signs arrive to interrupt your old self and make space for the new. Every time you pay attention to them, you are not just decoding reality, you are becoming someone new. You are rehearsing alignment, sculpting your consciousness, activating a timeline in which you are more coherent, more awake, and more magnetic. But living as a decoder means more than collecting signs for yourself. It means embodying the awareness that the field is always speaking to you, through you, around you. Your presence becomes part of the communication. When you live in alignment, you become a sign for others. Your choices, your coherence, your resonance send ripples into the field that trigger synchronicities for those around you. This is how the web of synchronicity expands. It is not only about decoding, it is about transmitting. You become both the reader and the message, both the seeker and the guide. This brings us to a deeper invitation. Stop treating synchronicities as rare anomalies and begin treating them as the baseline of an awakened life. Signs are not extraordinary, they are constant. What is rare is the willingness to notice them, to trust them, and to embody them. The decoder does not wait for miracles. The decoder understands that every moment is already miraculous, coded, and alive with meaning. This shift from seeing synchronicities as rare to recognizing them as constant changes everything. It moves you from being a passive witness to an active participant in the unfolding of your timeline. You are not just watching timelines pass by, you are aligning with them. Every thought, every state of being, every declaration of alignment is tuning you to one version of reality over another. Synchronicities are not telling you what will happen. They are telling you what you are already resonating with. They are the mirrors of your becoming. To live as a decoder of reality is to take full responsibility for that resonance. Instead of asking, "What does this mean?" you start asking, "What is this showing me about who I am right now?" This is the level of mastery where life ceases to feel random and begins to feel orchestrated. Imagine a world where more people lived this way. Imagine communities of decoders, people attuned to the dialogue of the field, supporting one another in recognizing signs, celebrating fragments, and embodying alignment. The ripple effect would be profound. Fear would dissolve, replaced by trust. Isolation would fade, replaced by resonance. Life would no longer be endured, but decoded and lived as a constantly unfolding revelation. That is not a utopia. It is the natural outcome of individuals choosing to live awake, choosing to treat synchronicities not as curiosities, but as the compass of an intelligent universe. So here is your invitation. Stop waiting for the perfect sign. Start living as the decoder. Notice what repeats, trust what resonates, embody what aligns. And when you do, the puzzle of your life will not suddenly complete itself. But you will realize it never had to. The fragments are enough, the alignment is enough, and you are already walking the path you were meant to walk. If you're ready to take this deeper and move beyond inspiration into practice, I've created something just for you. It's an ebook called Awaken Your Quantum Power. It comes with a practical guide that helps you apply these teachings in real life, not just understand them. You'll find the link waiting for you in the pinned comment below. No accidents brought you here. The signs were always there. Now, it's your turn to live as the decoder of your reality.